Okay, enough of that polka music, even though it makes me want to dance. This is Dan Weaver. I'm here with Valley Vox. I've got two guests today. Before I introduce them, though, there's a few things I need to take care of. We had a new contest we started a couple weeks ago, and I realize it's very difficult. So if no one answers the question by the end of today, I'm going to give the answers and pick something a little easier for people after that. The contest was, there are two separate Amish groups in Montgomery County, and the question was, what are their two names and where do they get those names from? Last week's show, we talked about Common Core, and there was a question about the test. Somebody called in and wanted to know if the tests were the same in every state or different. Well, I did some research, and I cannot find any proof that they're different. They appear to be the same in every state. Also had an email from Jerry, who sent me some articles showing that golf courses are in decline, serious decline. 140 some golf courses closing every year. And then Michael Chiara also stopped to see me and brought up a third possibility for the golf course, which he had looked into years ago, and that was to build townhouses or condos on the golf course outside of the actual golf course, so that you wouldn't affect the golf course at all. And I thought that was a good idea, and an idea that has a lot of possibilities. Unfortunately, it was shot down at the time. But I think we're getting to the place in Amsterdam where we need revenue, and the golf course might be one place to get it. May 1st, Friday evening at the Amsterdam Free Library at 6 o'clock. That's May 1st, Friday. That's this coming Friday. There's going to be a program called Wine and Words. There'll be wine tasting, hors d'oeuvre. I don't know, I never learned how to pronounce that word right. And a poetry reading. And there's a $10 donation if you want to come to that, which will help the library out. If you haven't heard, the library's had some difficulties with their roof, and it needs to be replaced, and that's going to be very expensive. And all of us who live in the city have benefited from the library at one time. So hopefully some of you will come out to that. And if you're interested in participating as a poet, you can call the library and talk to Nicole, the director. Now, today, two young guests. We usually have old geezers on here. Today we got a couple young guys. David Weaver, no relation to me.
Hi there.
And Jay Leonard.
That's me.
And they are filmmakers, and they, just to back up, because David was on here a few weeks ago, well, and more than that now. And they're making a film in Amsterdam. Most of the filming is going to be done in Amsterdam, and it's called The Last Frankenstein. So since we hopefully have picked up a few new listeners since David was on here, how about you give us a brief synopsis, or at least the premise of the film?
It's what we're calling an existential slasher film. It's basically a modern day spin-off of the Frankenstein story, and it centers on the last member of the family who lives modern day and just is struggling with kind of like a midlife crisis, a dead-end job, and difficult relationship with his girlfriend. And into this kind of dormant life he's living reappears this creature from his family's past, and this acts as a catalyst that kind of moves him forward to kind of finally take on his lifelong ambition, which is to kind of complete these infamous Frankenstein family experiments of creating living beings from dead bodies. So it's kind of like character driven, but it's also very, very much a horror film too.
Okay, we've got a call already, so let's go ahead and take it. Hello, you're on Valley Vox.
Yeah, hello. Yeah, I got the answer. It's the Quakers and the Mennonites.
No, that's the Mennonites is a good try, but that's not the answer. But,
oh, all right.
Yeah, thank you.
I gave it a try. Bye.
Yep, you did. Okay. Why don't you hold your calls for maybe 10 more minutes so we can have a little bit more talk about this film. Jay, what is your role in this film? Can you talk about that?
Yeah, I'm the producer of The Last Frankenstein.
Okay, and David, you are?
Director and writer.
Okay, I'm not, I watch a lot of films, but to be honest with you, I'm not all that knowledgeable of what goes behind the scenes.
Neither are we. It's fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what's the difference between the producer and the director?
Who knows? We're just winging this. No idea.
Jay obviously has a sense of humor. I love that.
Yeah, so basically, I mean, I'm handling the production side of things, sort of coordinating some things for the picture, and at the end of the day, David's going to be the guy who tells the actors what to do and bosses me around, I guess.
Okay, so which one of you has been involved in lining up actors? Both of you, or just?
Yeah, we basically we work very closely together on a lot of the production details, from casting, setting up the auditions, to getting a hold of locations and working with crew. Auditions, we basically sit down together, we set up times, and I break down the characters I know that I need to fill, and we go to the auditions together. And then at the end of the day, the decision, it's on my shoulders to kind of make those casting decisions, but Jay's has a lot of experience with his with having directed now 3 films, so definitely his input comes into play, and then we just go from there.
If we were the mob, I would be like Tom Hagen. Okay. I'm just the consigliere in this operation.
I wanted to ask Jay, and you already partially answered it. What is your background in filmmaking? Now I heard you made 3 films. Were they horror films?
No, they weren't. They're comedies. I've been making films since 2004. Just real no budget style features that we've been producing in the area.
Okay.
So it's been 11 years.
And where have your films played anywhere? Are they on DVD or?
No, not really. The first one was more of a grand experiment. Back in 2003, 2004, film school seemed out of my reach, so I just took out a big student loan and bought a bunch of gear and thought I'd put myself through my own film school and made a movie. That took about 4 years, so it was kind of the same, a little cheaper, and that was '04, and then we made The Winter of My Discontent in 2009. Again, it was all local,
right?
Local labor of love, and that finished up it took about 2 years from script to screen. So. And then we just finished up Death Before Discomfort. We're working on the score right now, and the sound mix is being complete as we speak.
Good.
So that's where we're at.
Great. And I know David went to Film Academy for what?
Well, I went to the New York Film Academy, which is just a 2-month directing program, and then I went from there to SUNY Purchase's Film Conservatory.
He's got a pedigree.
Yes. I remember when he was going to New York Film Academy, it was my introduction to New York City, because I never really had any interest in going to New York City. And the first time we go there, I managed to land this place where we paid $30 to park for like 2 hours. So about the 4th time I was down there, I learned how to park for free and how to get around Manhattan, and found out that expressways in Manhattan are not expressways. It's bumper-to-bumper traffic. Sometimes it's a parking lot. So I learned to use the West Side Highway, because even with traffic lights is faster than using the so-called expressways. And I also learned how to get into New York City without paying very much. In fact, one time, somehow I got into Manhattan without paying a nickel. I don't know how I did it. I've never been able to.
They parachuted him in.
I've never been able to do it again, but somehow I did it. But that's one city where you got to pay to get in and pay to get out for the most part. Anyway, that's beside the point. So, have you selected all your actors and actresses yet?
Yes, since the last time we were on, we talked about how we had attached Jim Bolson, who was a cult film actor from the 70s and 80s, and since then we've also been very fortunate to have Roger Perry join the cast, and Roger is one of my personally favorite actors. He had a couple TV shows of his own in the 60s and guest starred on Star Trek, and then was in the Count Yorga vampire movies in the 70s, which are movies I love, so it's just a real honor that he's going to come out here and appear in the film. And now we're selecting our local talent. We've cast most of the roles. We still have probably about 3 or 4 major roles that we're still kind of trying to find just the right person for, so we might do some additional reaching out to local talent, but we've been sending out casting offers to most of the people. Now,
didn't I see that you had another actor that was fairly involved with Hollywood or TV or something, or just that one?
No, it's Jim Bolson was the first one, and then he's going to.
Oh, okay.
Goes back a little bit to the first time I was on Valley Vox. He was already attached.
Right.
And he was in The Hazing and Strange Behavior, which were some cult films, and now Roger's the second one, who's they have a little bit longer career than some of the other actors, but.
What about crew members? Have you got them all lined up, or do you still need crew members?
We are just about full on crew. I mean, I think we've been pretty blessed and pulled a pretty talented crew from the area
right
so far. So I think we're set, right?
Yeah, we're pretty good. We have
There's always room for help. So if you want to come by for free, donate
Right.
time.
Yeah.
Well, it's a good experience.
Sure,
You know,
reach out.
it's like anything, radio, television, movies, writing, being an artist, anything creative, you generally start out not getting paid.
Yeah.
And then you hope to be the person that lands a job making big bucks someday, but that's like me with my writing. If I make, $1,500 a year, I feel pretty good.
You're like John Grisham, right?
Yeah, John Grisham. I think, was he the guy? I was down on Amelia Island last year, and I think it was him. Yeah, we saw his vacation house, and it's, more expensive than my regular
real
house.
dump, right?
Yeah. I don't even have a vacation house. So anyway, when do you start shooting?
We'll be shooting in July. July 18th, I think, is day one. Yeah.
Yeah, it's right around there. July.
we're
July, soft start.
Yeah, we're going to be rolling into a soft start in June, sort of picking up a couple of days and dealing with some actors who are coming in from out of town. So we're going to be doing that in June and rolling in through July.
Okay, now I was talking to David the other day, and you were saying how you might have to change the shooting schedule because of difficulties. Are you going to have to do that, or are you still sticking to the doing it in a few weeks thing?
No, we should feel pretty confident we'll be able to just do it at the same time over a few weeks this summer. We want to have reshoots because you always have to plan ahead for reshoots too in case anything goes wrong. So we want everything, including reshoots, done by the end of August because then you get into seasonal changes. We don't want to deal with that.
Yeah, because that won't look right.
No.
Yes, I've seen reshoots
Well,
that
the
don't
create
look very good.
sequences, yeah.
Right. So now, but you got these two guys coming from Hollywood, though. So if you need reshoots, you're going to have to have them done with them. You're going to have to do them.
Yeah, there's no reshoots for them.
Yeah,
We're gonna-
Right.
that's getting it right. Now, reshoots are. I think we're looking at if you have anything with reshoots, it's gonna be more like effects related stuff. That's
I
a little
see.
harder to do, but no, those things we're gonna have that all taken care of and done.
Okay. Well, my name is Dan Weaver, for those of you who are new to the show, and the show is Valley Vox, and I have as guests today David Weaver and Jay Leonard, and they are creating a film called The Last Frankenstein. So we will start taking calls now at 843-2500 if you want to call and talk about the film, or if you want to call and try to answer the question that I gave out, which is to name the two separate Amish groups in the country. Now, they're both Amish groups, so the different name would be a modifier, so it's going to be something Amish and something Amish, okay? All right. And if you have the book, The Amish of New York State, well, it's right in there on the chapter about the Mohawk Valley Amish.
It's the techno Amish, not the correct answer.
No, it's not.
Amish and the Franken Amish.
The Franken
Frank-
Amish.
Franken Amish,
and the
maybe, yeah.
Amish Mafia is not correct either. So, Jay, do you like horror films?
I do. Yeah, I do. I'm nowhere near the caliber. I've nowhere near the caliber of love that David has, but yeah.
Okay, we got a call here.
Good morning,
Good morning.
CSS.
Good morning.
Hello. Can I get on the air?
You're on the air. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. This is Chet. I had signed up for the movie when you were in Amsterdam earlier.
Yeah, I remember you. I remember you, Chet.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, from the
and
Amsterdam.
I wasn't ready for a monologue or anything like that, but I've been looking real forward, and I'm pretty well, hopefully, prepared, and hopefully I can get accepted in your movie. Hopefully you find some part for me. But a lot of people that I talked to have been talking about this movie.
Nice.
It's really important for the area, and like I say, I think this is really great that we that people have found Amsterdam or in this local area to want to film some movies and like that. So
Yeah, thank you.
And a lot of, and I know, I guess this is Frankenstein. I think Mary Shelley, that was about 200 years old that she wrote that story.
Yeah, actually,
And and it wasn't just watching Boris Karloff back in I think 1931, but I was always interested in the Peter Cushing the Hammer films.
Oh,
that were
yeah,
made
those are great.
in the 1950s.
Yeah, those are great.
Yeah, they were really good and like that. So, but hopefully I'll hear from you. But like I said, I live in the dark ages. I don't have a cell phone or a computer. But I was talking to Bob Going and like
Oh
that.
yeah, Bob. Yep.
And so there's few. Was there a good amount of people from Amsterdam that signed up, or no?
Yeah, we actually had a really good turnout with overall for our casting auditions. We got, between our 3 walk-in auditions and our online submits, we received about, I'd say 60 to 75 local people, and then we posted on Backstage.com and received another 300 submissions. So altogether we had about 400 submissions. We still are reaching out to some people, so not all the roles and decisions have been made yet. So if you haven't heard from us yet, it's still possible that we'll get down the road.
Yeah, there's 35 roles in the film. It's a big film.
Yeah,
So
it is a lot.
us needing 4 or 5, we still are looking for 10% of our cast, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, like I say, I know some of the people, like I go into common council meetings and stuff. I'm kind of used to being in front of a camera and like that anyway. But
You're a natural.
okay, I thought I'd just give a call.
Okay,
Yeah,
thanks.
thank you, man.
Thanks, man.
Thanks a
All
lot.
right,
Thank you for
thank you.
coming out to the audition. You
Yeah,
were the
thanks for
first one
support.
there. So thank you.
Okay. Now, David, you did mention one thing to me, and that is that when you're doing a film, even though somebody might be a good actor or actress, they may not necessarily be the right choice for the film. And of course, I've read reviews where they say, oh, so-and-so was miscast. And so either one of you can answer this, actually, or talk about that, about people being miscast. And I know you guys are trying to avoid that. You don't want anyone in the film that, even though they may be a good actor or actress, they're really not right for the film.
Well, there's all kinds of things you have to consider. Someone comes in and they can blow you away with their talent, but then the first thing, of course, is scheduling, and we've had people. I had someone who I was really interested in for the lead role. He's a great actor. He loved the script. He wanted to come on board, and it just, no matter what we tried to work out, it just wasn't going to work out for his
Right.
schedule. Yeah, so that's
something that
the biggest piece.
Yeah, it's something that the big guys don't have to worry about
Yeah.
so much. Or we deal with real people who are actors as well and have to worry about jobs and families.
Yeah, they're working at Target warehouse.
Yeah,
That's me.
yeah. So
yeah.
we can't pay them. We can't pay them for all their time away from work and sort of. So it's a different challenge. We have to. It's sort of like doing a 1,000-piece jigsaw puzzle with about 4 of the pieces missing.
But also you don't want somebody in the movie, like, let's say you have your main actors and actresses, and then you have a person who's only got a few lines, but you don't want that person to come on in a scene with the major actors and just kind of dominate and pull away.
Right.
Well,
Right?
I think that if you don't really have to worry about that so much, because a good actor is going to be good in anything. They're not going to really overpower other people. I think the biggest obstacle we found after scheduling with actors is dynamics between actors.
Sure.
Because sometimes when you're casting, for example, our lead character has a girlfriend in the film, and there's supposed to be like a 5 to 8 year age difference between them. So I think we've seen some actors who are like, oh, this guy would be great for the lead, and this girl would be great for the female lead, but they're the same age, so I can't put them together as this couple because then I lose that aspect. And
Right.
And there's several relationships within the film. Our lead character, Jason, he meets this actress at a restaurant, and this actress is supposed to be a slightly older woman than he is. So we tested a bunch of people, and they were great, but some of them just weren't the right age range. Another thing is the 2 people in the film who procure bodies for Jason, who are kind of his modern day Burke and Hare, are these 2 paramedics at a local hospital who are also drug dealers. And they're kind of basically the criminals who help him get what he needs to complete these experiments. Finding the right people to play those 2 characters who can work well together and who look like they would fit well together, that was kind of a struggle at first, because we saw really good actors, but we have to find actors that play off each other well.
Right.
So sometimes you can have a great actor, but if they're working in the film in a relationship as part of a couple, then you have to make sure that they also work, that they fit well with each other.
Yeah, the dynamics between the talent needs to work. Yeah, ultimately we're going to do the best for the film.
Yeah.
So is that why I'm not in the film, besides the fact that I didn't
They're
try
not all
out?
cast yet. Come on, it's time.
I know Bob Going's in, and he's mentioned it several times on his show, which is good because
Yeah.
he's been promoting.
Yeah.
He's been promoting it, along with me. So
I'm gonna write a scene where the doctor and the creature have a chase through a used bookstore.
Oh,
when
great.
I go home, and then I'm gonna put you in the film.
that's great.
And just for the record, I mean, I'm writing a scene right now about a used bookstore owner for my next film. So.
Fantastic!
Yeah.
Wow, and then that would give my store a little advertisement.
Works for everybody.
And I'm not just saying this. We really saw amazing local talent
Yeah.
at the auditions. I'm really not just saying that. The three auditions we had, it was incredible, the talent in this area, and people, just the professionalism and just the skill they brought. It was really very fortunate experience to just be able to see the people. So.
Well, I brought that up several times on the show, the amazing talent around here. In the show I did with Gary Wager on music, the amazing number of people in music, and not just Sawyer or Fredericks, but, we talked about Jocelyn Arndt and her brother from Fort Plain, and Maria Recchio Bryce here in Amsterdam.
Yep.
But even besides them, there's others. There's all kinds of bands. Bill Healy, who had a bookstore in Schenectady on Union Street, he's got a great band. Peter Betts is in a band. There's just all kinds of great talent around here. But for whatever reason, some people make it big, and some of us stay here.
I've been surprised as we've gone on. I've been doing this for 10 years, I guess now, but I'm always surprised at how many of us there really are, and it's just kind of when we do a thing like this, it's like blowing a dog whistle, and all the other dogs can hear us, and they sort of come out at once, and it's cool.
Well, in making films, do you think it's a little easier making films today than it would have been for you, say, 25 years ago?
Yeah,
30
financially, I think it's easier, just because all the technology is so affordable these days.
Right.
With the DSLR explosion that happened a few years ago, and everyone being able to make film that looks like film now, we're not facing the same restraints, which is great, and it's also bad because it's hard to separate the wheat and the chaff
Sure.
now, So, but at the end of the day, you just have to make a quality movie.
Yeah,
It doesn't.
yeah.
That never gets any easier. Your story never gets any easier to make.
Right. Well, I guess it's like blogging. Everyone thinks they're a newsman because they can.
Yeah.
They have, it's easy to have a camera, have a blog, and whatever. And that's the way with filmmaking. But you stand out by making a quality product, and you stand out from the others.
Yeah, filmmaking has been democratized, just like blogging, just like self-publishing and vanity presses and stuff like that.
Yeah, I know about self-publishing.
Yeah.
and if you sell 100 books, if you self-publish a book and you sell 100 copies, you got to feel, like John Grisham did the first time he sold 1 million copies.
Yeah. It's just a different world. The distribution model is different. It's not what it used to be. I mean, the end game used to be making a film, getting to a festival, getting in front of some agents, and getting distribution. And that model doesn't really work anymore. I mean, it works for such a small percentage of the movies that actually get made these days.
Right.
Now with self-distribution and everyone basically having everyone's basically their own movie studio. This is what Coppola was talking about, in the 70s, where everyone is their self-contained film studio, and we're all doing it ourselves. And we can all buy a website for $2 a month and display our stuff for nothing, and sell our things on our own. And I think it's just a different model.
Well, I've been worried about, the book business has changed so much that, I'm really concerned that there won't be bookstores.
Sure.
Well, there'll always be a few, just like there's, this guy called in about an old Victrola. There's a few guys, there's Victrolas in antique stores. So you still got antique stores that sell old stuff, but I feel like down the road, that's all there's going to be with books. There'll be antique stores that have a few old books, but everybody's going to the Kindle and the Nook. And sometimes I look at movie theaters and I wonder how long are they going to last, because people have these home theaters now.
We've talked about this.
And the movies can go directly to their house.
Yeah.
They don't have to go through a process of.
I think they'll always be there to a degree. It's even for the larger productions, their model's changing too. Now you're seeing people making deals to do movies straight through Netflix. I mean, Adam Sandler just signed a deal to do what was like 6 or 7 movies right through Netflix. So I think you're always going to have movie theaters. You're always going to have things are never going to totally go away, physical media and movie theaters, but they're going to be used differently.
Right.
They talk now about how a lot of the movie theaters are probably going to cater more towards bigger budgeted
Like
films.
they used to.
Yeah, exactly. Like you had the big matinee, the big theater palaces, and you had your smaller indie run theaters. I think they're going to kind of split along those lines more, and maybe kind of the stuff in the middle is going to hit more towards streaming.
Yeah, and I think the way that bookstores need the same marketing guys that the record stores had, and the comic book stores have had over the last 15 years with Record Store Day and Comic Book Store Day, Comic Book Day and everything, where it just becomes like a market of people who make a special effort to shop at these places because it's about the experience, and it's not just about the end of the day.
That's true. A lot of people love the experience of shopping in my place as opposed to Barnes & Noble, which is, going to Barnes & Noble is like going to McDonald's. It's the same no matter where you go, pretty much, whereas each bookstore, is individual used bookstore. And on top of that, I have started selling records and comic books now. And believe it or not, I sold the Beatles' White Album this week, and I sold a couple other interesting records that I had picked up recently. So let's talk a little bit about funding. Where the heck are you going to get your money from for this?
Couch cushions.
Besides my wife and I.
Yeah, you guys.
Grand theft.
Yeah.
No, Jay, would you like to talk about that a little?
Sure. Yeah, we are going to crowdfunding for this movie.
Okay, we have some older listeners, so you'll have to explain crowdsourcing.
Well, you see, the internet is a series of... So there's a website called Kickstarter.com. There's a few, Kickstarter being probably the most popular, that allows you to basically put a project up, like a film or an album or a book or what have you, and sort of float it out there, advertise there, and people can donate money to the film until we hit our budget, basically. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to put together a Kickstarter campaign. We should be launching by this weekend's end, by the beginning of next week.
Okay.
And great perks.
Yes. And
Oh yeah, I was going to ask you about those perks. What are some of the perks, and what level of donation do you have to make to get the perks?
Well, you can donate as little as $1 with Kickstarter, and as you obviously
sound like Sally Field, right?
Yeah. As little as $1. You can obviously, as you donate a larger contribution, the perks get more substantial. But so we're starting out with just $1, donate $1, and we'll give you a shout out on our website, something like that. But then as you go farther up, then we have some really great things. We have T-shirts, DVDs and later Blu-rays of the film, a limited edition Blu-ray of the film with a different cover. And as you get farther and farther up, you get to the point where we're going to let you come on set for a day and hang out with Jim Bolson the day that he shoots, executive producer credit. We're going to give away some actual screen used props from the film, some of the
Some of the
makeup.
gory props.
Yeah, some of the gory props that we have. Attending the wrap party, tickets to the premiere. So we have a lot of really great things, and we staggered it. I feel we've done a pretty good job of staggering it, so no matter where you contribute, there's something really good that you'll get in return.
So what's the highest level you have, and what do that person get? I'm asking for a reason.
Oh, the highest level is the $1,000. I mean, obviously, all you people who want to give more than $1,000, feel free to do that too. But yeah, the highest level that we actually have defined is $1,000, which is the executive producer credit. You get a actual prop from the film, and then you get every time you give to a perk, you get everything from the lower perk. So if you donate to the $50 perk, you're going to get everything that the 25 or 10 or.
I was just wondering what Edie and I are getting. That's why I asked. About
you'll get the undying gratitude of your middle child.
Okay.
And then we'll probably take care of your laundry for a while.
Yeah.
Right.
That should have been one of the perks.
I know, yes, and we'll
Just me going out, washing
beating it
windows.
on the river with a rock. Yeah, but really, we were very also kind of fortunate with our situation. We have a unique situation that allows us to come up with some really great props in the ways of T-shirts and merchandise. So it's definitely going to be your money, aside from just really helping us to be able to make this possible, is also going to definitely, you'll see some tangible rewards and perks come back to you too.
And we start can shaking within the next 2 days.
Yes,
so.
exactly.
And what corner are you going to do that on? I'm just kidding.
And I just say too to people, no matter what this film, the Kickstarter plays a big part in making this film what it can be, and that's what it should be. I tell that to people. I say there's what the film can be, and there's what it should be, and the vision for the film is very specific, and I really think that the film will benefit most from us hitting this production goal that Kickstarter will allow us to have. So that's why I just tell people this is really about making the film everything that it possibly could and should be. So anything anybody can contribute is greatly appreciated.
Right, and that means less that your mother and I have to give you.
Oh, yeah, there's that too.
Anyway, it's time to go to a break just about. This is Valley Vox on WCSS 1490 AM. And when we come back, we will be taking phone calls, 843-2500, if you want to write that down. Some of you have it memorized, and you call in regular. Our guests today are David Weaver and Jay Leonard, who are making a film called The Last Frankenstein. Be back in a few minutes.
Come get everything you need to completely update your home at all the right prices during the Home Rejuvenation event at Ruby and Query. Start from the ground up and rejuvenate your home with beautiful new carpet, tile, laminate, or hardwood floors, and we'll make sure that you're getting the best for your family with a free upgrade to our Healthier Living installation. Then take advantage of big savings on the latest technologies with a new washer, dryer, refrigerator, oven, or high-temperature dishwasher from trusted brands like Samsung, Electrolux, GE, Maytag, and Frigidaire. You'll get the guaranteed lowest prices on these amazing new appliances. And that's not all. Right now at Ruby & Query, you can save up to 50% on red-hot buys throughout the store, plus dozens of scratch and dent appliances on sale. So come to the home rejuvenation event at Ruby & Query today while these amazing offers last. Located in Johnstown across Route 38 from the Holiday Inn or at rnq.com. Always the best for less.
I'm Tim Everhart with the latest weather, brought to you by Patriot Federal Bank, located across the Olympic Diner on Route 30 in Amsterdam, Erie Boulevard in Kanjahari, and across from the Holiday Inn on North Comrie Ave in Johnstown. Today, April 25th, a mixture of clouds and sunshine, breezy but less windy overall, also less chilly, a high in the upper 50s. Tonight, mostly clear skies and cold, a low around 30. And for your Saturday, morning sunshine followed by increase in afternoon cloudiness and a chance of afternoon or evening showers, a high near 60. I'm Tim Everhart, and that was the latest weather, brought to you by your friends at Patriot Federal Bank. Hometown banking with the personal difference.
Hey, this is Chef Castiglia, Rolling Hills Country Club, Parm Night 2015. Come on and enjoy our specials and enjoy the atmosphere. We're also doing Parm Night to go. Call for details.
Hungry for a taste of Italy? Head out to Parm Night, Thursday nights 4:30 to 8 at Rolling Hills Golf and Country Club. Chef Castiglia will treat you to your choice of chicken or eggplant parm for just $9.95, veal or shrimp parm for just $10.95. And that includes homemade bread and your choice of super salad. And new this year, Chef Castiglia is offering Parm Night to go. Call ahead and add $2 per to-go dinner. That's Parm Night, Thursday nights 4:30 to 8, only at Rolling Hills Golf and Country Club. Walk-ins are welcome, but reservations are recommended. 829-7817. That's 829-7817 for Parm Night at the Rolling Hills Golf and Country Club, 2258 State Highway 5 in Fort Johnson.
Do you have a loved one who has Alzheimer's? Well, come to the Alzheimer Caregiver Group monthly support group meeting every second Thursday of the month. Support and education for family caregivers on Alzheimer's disease and related dementia. This is a free meeting and no enrollment is necessary. For more information, call the Alzheimer's Association at 518-867-4999, extension 203. That's every second Thursday from 4 to 6 p.m. at 2 Colonial Court in downtown Johnstown.
Something's coming. Something big is coming. Something big and exciting is coming to WCSS on Friday, May 1st. Tune in and find out.
I'm Tim Everhart with the birthdays for Saturday, April 25th, 2015. Happy birthday day to Lorraine Stiletto, Gary Quinn, Jordan Hitchcock, and my sister, Katarina Everhart.
1490 AM,
I tossed this baby in the ultra
WCSS.
power save mode, and boom,
Good
it's got
time
another
oldies,
day of life.
1490 AM, WCSS.
Fine, but let's not stay long. My phone's fast charging, restores 50% power in about 30 minutes, and I've got places to be.
Like where?
Joey just texted us. Didn't you see? Oh, yeah.
Visit Samsung.com/GS6 for more information.
Okay, we are back, and I believe we have a phone call. So let's take it. Good morning, you're in Valley Vox.
Yeah, good morning. I have a question for the young guys here, young fellas.
Sure.
Have you explored the possibility of forming a nonprofit and applying for grants?
No.
No, I know that there are some, especially in upstate New York. That's one of the reasons that no Beast So Fierce shot in Amsterdam, was there were certain tax breaks it could get, but it had to, the film in that case had to be above a certain a certain level of budget higher than ours. So I know that that's something that we couldn't really explore. I did look into that, but no, we didn't really look into like a nonprofit. I don't know that we would really count as a nonprofit though, because even though we don't know that, and we'd love this film to turn a profit at some point, I don't know that we will. I just don't. At the end of the day, it still is essentially a profitable. A profit-driven operation, even if it doesn't turn one. So I don't know that we'd be able to qualify for that.
You would have
Well,
to.
it does have a lot of cultural value
Yeah,
in the
no,
community.
absolutely. No,
And as you can see, there was a lot of interest generated in the community. And they are not necessarily looking at it from a money-making proposition. They're just, the people that went down to your casting calls are people who are very interested and just want to be a part of something like that.
Yeah, no, it's definitely something that I know that other people. In fact, we worked back on a music documentary about a couple years ago, and that's kind of going through some completion stages right now, using by some other filmmakers who are involved, using some government funding. So it's definitely a possibility. I guess I'll be honest with you, it's something I never even really thought about, to tell you the truth.
Yeah. Okay, can I ask you a trivia question?
Yeah.
Okay, born in Warsaw, Poland in the late 1800s, eventually came to the United States and made his way up to Gloversville, New York, worked in the glove industry for several years, was a very successful salesman for the elite Gloversville company of Gloversville, New York, where he traveled the northeast of the United States, went on to Hollywood to become a very famous producer. Do you know who this is?
Samuel Goldwyn, right?
That's right.
Man, I was going to say Sandler.
My grandfather, who he passed away recently, but he just really taught me all about the relationship between this area and its roots to cinema, and Sam Goldwyn and Meyer Shine and Kirk Douglas. So yeah, that's a fascinating piece of history. And plus, you still have, I believe it was through Sam Goldwyn's relationship with Gloversville that the Glove Theater was able to get so many local premieres, including, I believe, Drums Along the Mohawk.
Yeah, Drums Along the Mohawk was one. Drums Along the Mohawk premiered in several cities up here at the same time, pretty much at the same time, I believe. Amsterdam was one, Gloversville, I don't know where all else. But yeah, we got a great connection with theater here.
But that was in the golden age of film.
Yeah.
And as you said previously, everything's going digital now with streaming and everything. I'm afraid that big budget movie theaters are going to be a thing of the past.
I don't think you have to. I think the same thing, and I think the same thing also about physical media. Like, am I going to be able to? I'm a big person into like DVDs, Blu-rays, just the different ways that you can watch a film. But I think you're always going to have theaters. There's always going to be that experience that people want to have of being able to watch it with other people there for the same reason. It doesn't have to be their friends or family, complete strangers, just in this kind of setting where you're all there for the same purpose, to see this film and see it on this grand scale.
Yeah, I just think eventually.
Well, the one thing that really destroyed my desire to go to movie theater was cell phones.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
People texting during the movie and people talking during the movie.
That can kill it fast, and then if you say something, you're
it
liable to get
for good.
You're liable to get beat up like the guy in Schenectady at bow tie.
Guy in Schenectady, correct.
Yeah.
Okay, gentlemen, have a good day.
Hey, thank you very much for calling in.
Thank you.
Okay, those were good questions. How much money are you going to have to raise?
All of it.
Yeah, that's an answer.
Our Kickstarter goal is going to be about $13,000, which they take 10% of.
Right.
So that's $11,700, and that's in addition to my personal savings and some private investment. So that's the balance will come through the Kickstarter campaign.
Okay, maybe before I forget to ask you, tell people what your Facebook page is, and do you have a website also?
We do. Our website is www.gila-film. That's GILA-film.com, and there you can find all our updates, our casting and crew updates, the links to all our social media. Dave, our Facebook is facebook.com/The
Last Frankenstein. Yep.
The Last Frankenstein. So go on Facebook and like them, and then you'll be kept up to date with everything, or go up to their website.
And
go ahead.
I'm sorry, we're on Twitter too at Last Frankenstein.
I always forget about Twitter. I mean, once in a while I tweet something, but not very often. I mostly stick with Facebook. And by the way, this show also has a Facebook page, which is facebook.com/Valley Vox. So you can go on there and like that. We haven't had many likes in a while. I don't know if that means I don't know if that means people don't like this show, or we just have older listeners who don't use Facebook or Twitter or anything
If you need
like
some
that.
help, we can walk you through the sign-up process. Just give a call, and we'll do it live on the air.
Right. So,
We just want to be liked so badly.
if you have any questions for David Weaver or Jay Leonard, who are producing this film, The Last Frankenstein, please feel free to call in, 843-2500.
And that does kind of just carry on from what that last caller was saying about the community support. It really has been incredible. We've approached local people about using their locations, the local actors, a couple people involved with government, and everybody's been extremely accommodating, it's really important, because when you're working on such a low budget film and your time is strapped, just to have people being willing to believe in your vision and help you carry it through has been a really big support. Since the last time we were on, for example, I really wanted to shoot at Valentino's restaurant, and I asked them if that would be possible to shoot a scene there. For those who don't know, Valentino's restaurant is in Amsterdam. It's a beautiful, beautiful place, classic 1960s interior. And they were just incredibly accommodating. They were sure that'd be great. Why don't you come up whenever you need to shoot here? We can do whatever. We can accommodate you in any way. And that just really means a lot, because it was a place that I specifically wrote that scene for. So to see them come on and support us, it really does mean a lot in a situation like
Well, that's
this.
great. And the owner of this station has been accommodating.
Yeah, Joe Tessero has been a huge help to us.
Yep.
It's a couple different locations.
And of course, the Shots is.
Yes, in Shots Tavern,
Of
Mike
course,
Cerbero
Mr.
and Gene
Cerbero.
Brown, who have not just are allowing us to shoot at Shots Tavern, but have also just been really passionate cheerleaders and supporters of the film all the way, offering us places to meet, hold production meetings, and marketing the film. They've been a big cheerleader.
So all these people will probably have credits at the end of the film, not credits, or
Absolutely.
whatever you call
thank
it.
yous.
Thank
Yeah.
yous.
Thank yous. Well, some of them are even going to be in the film. I'm getting Mike and Gene to actually be in the film.
Really?
So I asked them because I think they'd be great for a couple of the roles.
Right.
Yeah.
I got to ask you a question I've been wondering for a long time. What the heck is a gaffer? I always see that at the end of films. And it's like, what is that?
Gaffer's in charge of lighting.
Oh.
He oversees the electric crew.
So why can't they use a word that I can understand, like lighting director?
Yeah.
You know?
Same reason they can't call extension cords. They're called stringers.
Oh, okay.
Or C47s,
So it's like any other industry or business or profession, they create their own language, which has a way of kind of keeping other people out,
Yeah.
sort of, making them more elite.
The more acronyms you have, the more powerful you are. I
That's
think
right.
that's worldwide.
That's why the government has so
Global.
many.
Right.
There's probably, I'm sure there was, I don't know enough about that aspect of film history, but I'm sure there's an I don't know why
There's
they
no
call him
reason.
Gaffer.
There's no
There's
reason.
got to be a
They
reason.
picked a name out of a hat, man.
Gaffer.
Oh, will the movie have a score, a musical score?
Oh, absolutely. That's something that won't be down a little further down to our post-production, so
Right.
not something I'm really thinking about too much right now, but definitely if anybody's interested in submitting reels to have their music used, we definitely would love to hear it. But I'm definitely have some ideas for the score, a lot of influence from I'm a fan of all kinds of music. I love everything from Peggy Lee to Kid Cudi to The Doors to Janis Joplin, everything. But in this particular case, I'm looking at a lot of influences from these 80s records, kind of like Chromatics and what was the other one I was just listening to the other day? But that's kind of the direction I'm going with the film. Is kind of a retro, very moody, industrial.
Well, it's going to fit the film, which is a love letter to that time period, that 70s and 80s horror film time period.
Speaking of Peggy Lee, I remember being concerned when David was 5 years old or so and fell in love with Peggy Lee.
She gave me fever.
Yes, she
That's
gave
what
him
she
fever.
did.
Now he's got film fever. But yeah, that song, "You Give Me Fever."
Oh, so good.
It's a great song, really. Anyway, I assume you both will be taking vacations from your paying jobs to do this.
Yeah, we're dealing with all that right now.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we'll see how that shakes out.
Yeah. Vacations or just something along those lines. Leave of absence.
Right. Now, I heard you were interviewed for some kind of horror magazine.
Yeah.
Can you tell us about the magazine and what issue it's going to be in and all that?
Absolutely. Famous Monsters of Filmland, which is one of the biggest horror fanzines to ever come about. Fangoria is the other one. One of their writers, Daniel 13 is his pen name. He interviewed us about the about the film and everything that's been going on with that, and that's going to be appearing. I don't have an ETA on that, but I know I just talked to him recently, and I know that he's in the process of transcribing that interview. But that will be appearing on their website. So if you just Google Famous Monsters of Filmland, you'll see right at the top there's a tab for Daniel 13's column. So he's going to be doing a write-up on that, which is great. It's a huge honor because Famous Monsters of Filmland, if you talk to a lot of horror filmmakers who came out of, like, say, like the 1980s-ish, they grew up in the 50s, and that was their kind of introduction to horror films, was that magazine, and Forrest Ackerman who founded that. So it's a huge honor for us to even be included in that. So.
Yeah, somebody left a comment on one of your posts about how they had grown up reading that magazine.
Yeah, it was just a big influence on a lot of those filmmakers who came about later.
Well, what made the magazine do this story on you? How did they even find out about you or anything like that?
Just through, actually, I think it was just through a slow trickling out on social media and the grapevine. And I actually think that in that specific case, actually, I think Daniel may have seen, we had a sign in Amsterdam. There's a digital readout that shows events of what's going on in the city,
right.
And they put up there that when we had our Amsterdam auditions. And I think actually, Daniel, that might actually have been how he heard about the film. Was he saw that we were casting for a horror movie, and then he looked us up on Facebook, and then he reached out to me.
And I thought that sign never did anything. So.
No, actually, it was interesting because when we had our Schenectady auditions, there were people coming from Amsterdam to the Schenectady auditions who saw that sign.
I see.
The information was still up after the Amsterdam auditions had closed, and that's how we found our props master, who's a girl out of Amsterdam, and she's like, "Yeah, I saw the sign."
So let it be said that procrastination has got us somewhere.
Right, and we must thank Mr. Tonko, I think, who got the money for that sign. I'm not sure who did, but anyway, City of Amsterdam runs it, and so it is useful. It's right on the corner of Church and Main Street, so people coming off the bridge can see it. Hopefully they look at it more when they're stopped there rather than try to read it while they're driving by and have an accident. Have you chosen all the locations for your film yet?
We know, the vast majority of locations have been chosen. We're still hunting a couple down. We're dealing with some people right now trying to nail down a couple of the key locations that we're trying to get in the area. We're looking for a hospital shoot, so we're kind of working with. We just reached out to a local film commission to see what we can get locally, and I think that's it.
Well, but another location too that. And I would encourage everyone to follow us on Facebook because there might be some locations that people in the area might know about.
Of course.
That we might post on social media that we're kind of looking for. Another location is an apartment for our lead female. She's a character named Penny. She's the lead character, Jason's girlfriend, and she's basically a 20-something, very bohemian, somewhat hippie-ish chick. So we're trying to find an apartment that definitely has that quality that's already kind of we can go into, and it's already set up like that. We don't have to do a lot of set dressing. And
What about your apartment?
no, I'm already using that for a different character.
Oh, okay. So you're looking for an apartment that's maybe hasn't been updated since the 70s or something?
Yeah, it just has that kind of very free-spirited feel to it where,
something that's not uncommon for people in that age demographic to live in. That's what we're looking for. Something that we don't have to build out.
Yeah, because the right now as it stands, the main location that we're just going to have to build is the lab for Jason, where he does his experiments. And other than that, we're trying to get locations that we can pretty much just walk into, just because it's so time-consuming to, when we're on such a strap for time and a budget to build out sets. So anything we can find that we can just walk into that's already inhabited.
So you're actually going to build this lab?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
yep.
Wow.
Yeah, we actually were very.
You couldn't go up to that old hospital in Saratoga where you guys snuck in one
Oh
night
yeah,
and use that. Huh?
No, it has to look. It does have to look sterile and clean.
No theremins or anything.
Yeah, it has to be something that would look like you could do surgery there without people having gangrene. So. Yeah.
So outside of Amsterdam, have you selected any locations outside of Amsterdam, like other parts of the?
Not really. The only one is that we are looking at a horse farm up that a coworker of mine has said that we could probably get access to. But other than that, just for transportation, when you're talking about at least a half a dozen crew and maybe
Yeah.
6 cast members on a
Yeah.
day. You don't want to have to.
Company moves are that's
Right.
what they're called, and they're time consuming and they're expensive.
Yeah, sure.
Spend a lot of sweat equity and a lot of energy for a bunch of people who are already working really hard. So we're trying to keep it as compact as we can,
Yeah.
to be as efficient as we can. So
Right.
You want to be, especially when everyone's kind of coming on board, from a place of passion. You want to just try to be accommodating, try not to make it any harder than it needs to be.
we're using every part of the buffalo, as they say.
Yes.
Right. The buffalo that got shot
Yes.
yesterday?
Yes.
Wasn't that a pretty sad thing?
So yeah.
Gee, don't, if you're a buffalo, yeah.
Stay
Don't-
away from Albany.
Exactly.
Buffalo.
Yeah.
You're shooting.
Poor bison. Anyway,
Sounds delicious.
yeah. What else is going on with this film that we haven't covered? Anything?
There's
Right.
so much.
Yeah, there's
Go
actually
ahead.
quite a bit. Well, right now we're going into our pre-production with our makeup artist. So the effects artist on the film is a guy named Jared Balog, and he's out of Troy. He's worked on a number of local features, and he also just directed and wrote his own feature film, Mr. Righteous. And so that's a huge part of this film, is the fact that we want all the effects to be done practically. We don't want any CGI, blood, or anything.
Right.
So right now we're starting, in a couple weeks, we're going to have a follow-up concept meeting with him, where we're going to kind of go over all the effects, break them down, go over his designs for it, and then he's going to start making his magic happen with foam latex and rubber and fake blood. So that's really exciting right now to see. I've seen his sketches from our prior meeting, and they're actually up on the Facebook page, but just incredible. And just how he was able to translate from my somewhat amorphous description on the script to something that was exactly what I wanted to see. And he's just, a very talented person, has a great small team helping him out too. So that's really exciting.
And again, if you follow us, I'm sure we're going to be posting some makeup test footage, when applicable.
Yeah.
Trying not to kill the surprise.
Yeah, he's doing some behind the scenes filming on that too.
Okay, we got a call. Let's take it.
Also,
This is WCSS. You're on Valley Vox.
Yeah, I've got another question. I hope you don't mind me calling back.
No, that's okay. You always ask intelligent questions, so we don't mind.
As far as the equipment, the cameras and all that, do you have to buy that stuff yourself, or is there some place that you like some, broker that leases that stuff out, or how does that work?
Well, it kind of depends usually on the situation. Your camera comes with your director of photography usually, or at least at the insistence of your director of photography. And in this case, it looks like, we have a director of photography who has his own camera package, pretty impressive lens collection, and I think we're going to be using the Canon C100, which is a cinematic camera that Canon produces. But yeah, I mean, traditionally speaking, there's a couple different ways you can go. Some people spend a lot of money and buy these things, and there's a lot of rental houses in New York and stuff.
And there's just the thought just escaped me. But there's also some people, you can get some camera packages for as cheap. But before we went with this camera that we're looking at now with our DP, we were considering purchasing like a GH4, which is the base package is about $1,500.
Yeah, Panasonic. Now with DSLRs in 4K resolution, I mean, you can really get a lot done for a little bit of money.
Is the deal now that once you shoot a scene, you put it on a disc or something so that you have its good storage, or what do you do with it?
There's a whole new
film involved.
There's a whole new position that's been created since this whole thing. It's called the DIT, or the DIT, who's the guy on stage on set rather, that's in charge. Basically, he's like what the film loader used to be. He pulls the cards out of the camera when they're done, or the hard drive, and he goes and takes them away to his little area and copies the cards down to a hard drive, makes back multiple copies, sort of scrubs through the footage to make sure there's no dropouts or anything. Loads fresh cards in, sort of keeps a record of what cards on what. It's a whole new world.
Do they actually have courses in college that teach these kind of things, or do you have to learn it as you go?
I don't know.
Either way.
Yeah, I think
you can take either route.
Yeah.
There's some people who, you can go through film school, and there are some local programs. I know at Albany, you can't major in film. I don't believe it's SUNY Albany, but they have a minor. There's some really, I went to SUNY Purchase for a little while, and that's a great film school. But also just you don't have to go to film school. You can just buy a camera and start shooting stuff, or get involved. There's a lot of local productions.
That was my thing.
Yeah,
I just thought, you get a couple of bucks and get out there and just make your movie. You're going to learn more by screwing things up, and you'll never make those mistakes again. That's how I
Especially if
do
they
it.
cost a lot of money.
Exactly. And a lot of money, it doesn't always have to be, a very small amount of money at one point was a ton of money to me. So making those mistakes, even tapes back in the day when they were $9 a piece, I didn't want to burn too many of them,
But it sounds like you guys really have the passion for it, and passion
love
is a spark that lights the fire. So
Yeah.
I
Thanks.
wish you lots of success.
Thank you very much.
Thanks
Really
so much.
appreciate
Okay.
it.
So long.
Thank you. So we only have a few minutes left. Now, the camera say, they used to talk about 35 millimeter, this,
Yeah.
that, and the other thing. Do they use those terms anymore with digital?
Yeah, no. We talk about sensor size, and we talk about bit rate, and we talk about resolution now. Yeah.
Is there anyone still using real film?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
definitely. But again, it comes right back down to the bookstore conversation. It comes back to these people may have to make a special effort now because film is expensive and exposures are expensive and it's
Right.
more time consuming and there's more. It's a different situation. There's chemicals involved. There's the labs. There's a lot more moving parts. Digital is instant. Digital is instantaneous, and I feel like everybody in this world has been pushing to get digital to be as filmic as possible over the last 15 years or so, and we're getting there. But
Right. Well, the movie theaters were forced to go digital,
Yeah.
pretty much, and they all had to invest a lot of money. Even their drive-ins, the one up in El Rancho.
Yeah.
Yep.
And-
Sad. It's
yeah.
not as warm as organic as film, But
Well, I know, Dave, talking about CGI, Dave, you always seem to me to be pretty much a purist when it comes to making movies, not wanting to do anything that's really fake.
Well, the CGI I think has its place, but unfortunately I think it's become the go-to answer for everything now. So there's definitely a place, a use for that. But practical effects, if you can do it that way, I just think it looks a lot better. Just
Yeah, we wanna
because
get
it's something
dirty.
tangible. You can
Yeah.
see the depth to it on the film. But unfortunately, now everything is just the immediate kind of response is, oh, let's do it CGI, of course. So I think that it's unfortunate because I think that they've lost that appreciation for the tangible effects.
And bad CGI is very noticeable.
Yeah.
I've used the example many times. I went to see Gods in General with my son, which was a terrible movie.
Mm-hmm.
They use, and that was a follow-up to Gettysburg, which was a great movie, done very well. Anyway, they used CGI to show this house on fire, and smoke's coming out of the window, and you could see it. It would pulse out, and 3 seconds later, flames would shoot out again. Another 3 seconds later, come out again. The way they programmed it, and that, it's just weird. You could tell it was very, very fake.
Well, I think the thing about is you can have bad CGI and it looks horrible, and you can have bad practical effects and it looks charming. So I think that's the great thing about practical effects. It
That's
can
what
look
we're going
bad,
for.
and you can be like, "Oh, that's still okay."
Yeah.
Well, guys, this hour went pretty fast.
It did.
I want to thank you, David Weaver and Jay Leonard,
Thank
for
you, sir.
coming on the show. And to those, nobody got the answer to the question I asked. The two Amish groups, one's called the Byler Amish, the other is called the Andy Weaver Amish.
The Crips Amish. Whatever.
The Crips and the Bloods. And the Andy Weaver Amish is no relation to me, although I have a cousin named Andy Weaver. And they're named after their bishops. Each group has a different bishop, and the name comes from their bishop. So next week we'll start another contest, and I will make sure it's easier and maybe more related to Amsterdam, or at least it will be related to the county, as most of my questions are. So we'll be back next week. This is Dan Weaver on Valley Vox and WCSS 1490 AM. Stay tuned for the Beatles show, and for George after that with his great show of music and his political commentary. And leave you with a little quote that I heard today from one of my favorite singers. The quote is, "Without love, we're wasting time." Thank you for listening today.
Sound Off with Sam Zerlo, weekday mornings at 9 on 1490 AM, WCSS Amsterdam.
I can't let you do this, let you